Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome dear students. This is Miss Layla Al-Jihani. Inshallah today we will continue our unit 6. Today inshallah we will cover two lessons, lesson 5 and 6. We will cover the listening and pronunciation. Before we start, in our previous lesson we covered language and context and part of our grammar. In our language and context we practiced the grammar we learned, the superlative and comparative and the indirect questions. We used the grammar in this lesson. We had 4 announcements, okay? And we asked each other questions to decide which apartment or which place is good for Yusuf to live in, okay? Inshallah, today in our lesson, by the end of our lesson, you will be able to listen for specific details in a new story about garbage and recycling. So, we will hear a conversation about garbage and recycling. What does garbage mean? What does recycle mean? We will discuss it inshallah today. You will be able to practice pronunciation, pronouncing the intonation of direct and indirect questions, okay? Before we start, I gave you a homework, page 126. Did you do your homework? I'm sure you did. Okay, so we will do the homework, we will go through the answers together. For exercise G, complete the sentences, use comparisons with as and as. Okay, do you remember that? It was part of our grammar. The example here, we have 2 sentences. Okay, the office building is 10 stories tall. The school building is 10 stories tall too. Okay, we have 2 sentences. What you need to do, you have to combine these 2 sentences, make it into one. Okay, as you can see in the example here, the school building is as tall as the office building. Okay, so you have to combine the 2 sentences together. Number 1, the bus ticket is inexpensive. So this is the excellent. This is the adjective we are using. It cost $1. The subway ticket cost $1 too. Okay, so how can we combine these 2 sentences together using as and as? Okay, we have to put as and then the adjective, صح? So the adjective is inexpensive. How can we do it? Excellent. As inexpensive as. Okay, this is we combine the 2 sentences together. Okay, what about number 2? The pizza at Joe's is good and the pizza at Mamma Mia's is good too. So we are comparing between 2 restaurants, okay? 2 restaurants. How can we do it? The adjective, where is the adjective? Which adjective are we gonna use? Excellent, good. We are using good, okay? How can we combine? Joe's pizza is excellent, as good as Mamma Mia's pizza, okay? 3, apartments cost $700 a month. Houses cost $1,100 a month, okay? So we are comparing between 2, the houses and the apartments, okay? So here he's using the negative. So how are we gonna do it? We can't find the adjective here. So what do you think? Which adjective are we gonna use? Excellent. Expensive. So apartments aren't as expensive as houses. Aren't as expensive as houses. This is for number 3. What about number 4? Houston is warm in the winter. Chicago is not warm at all in the winter. So we are comparing between 2 cities, okay? And they are comparing between them related to regarding the weather, okay? So they are comparing the weather in winter between 2 cities. Chicago in the winter isn't what? Houston in the winter what? Okay? So you will say as warm as. As warm as. Okay? Easy? I'm sure it is. For exercise H, write indirect questions for the answers. Okay, you have answers, like here, it is the Grand Hotel. Okay, the example here, Ali wants to know the name of this hotel. Okay, and they gave you for the question now and what to form the question. صح? Okay, so they give you now and what. The answer is, isn't the Grand Hotel. How do they form the question? They use the indirect question. We use do you know. صح? So we add do you know what the name of this hotel is. Okay, this is the question. We formed it together. What about here in number 1? Amira wants you to tell her the time the bank closes. She wants to know when the bank closes. This is what she wants. So they give you these two words to help you, could and when. So we're asking about the time. And the answer is the bank closes at 4 o'clock. How can we form the question? We start with what? Excellent. Do you know, or could you tell me when the bank closes? So we used could as they requested, and we used when. Okay? For number 2, Hamid wants to know the location of the gym. Okay, Hamid wants to know the location of the gym. We have know and where. This is the words we use to form the indirect question. Yes, it's on Main Street. How can we form it? Do you know where the gym is? Easy? Very easy. Let's say number 3. Fahad wants to know the cost of train ticket. We have to use could and how much. Could you tell me how much a train ticket cost? It cost $5. Okay? For question 4, Farah needs to know when the supermarket opens. We have to use know and when. So do you know when the supermarket opens? Okay? So we finished the homework. We did the homework together. Before we start our lesson, okay, your lesson page 62, the listening. Before we hear the listening together, I have some questions. We have to discuss it together, okay? The first question, what happens to the garbage we throw every year? Have you ever thought about the things you throw? Every day we have garbage we throw, صح? Things like when you open a bottle of water and you drink it, you want to throw it. You throw things in the trash, in the garbage, okay? When you throw it, have you ever thought about what happens to garbage? Where does it go? You did? Where do you think? They throw it where? In an open area? In a land? Maybe. Where else do you think? They throw it in the sea? Hopefully not. Poor fishes. Hopefully they don't throw it there. What else? They burn it? Maybe they do. We never know. We will hear, inshallah, in our listening, a conversation, and not a conversation, it's like an article, and we will learn and understand what happened to garbage. And another question I have, how many kilos of trash do you think you throw away every day? When you throw, how many kilos do you think your garbage is? Think about your house. Do you throw the garbage every day? You do? Okay, every day, how many bags is it? Is it 1 or 2 garbage bags? How many kilos is it? 10, 15, 20? Okay, every one of us has his own or her own lifestyle, okay? So it's different, the answer between one person to another. Have you ever thought about recycling? Do you know what does recycling mean? Do you know what does it mean? Recycling means you use your trash, the bottles, the papers, you don't throw it away. You use it to, again, recycle it again, instead of throwing it away or burn it, okay? So we can help the environment, we help the environment. It's a really good for Earth, for our environment, okay? So how careful are you about recycling? Do you do it every day? Do you have, I think we can see it, alhamdulillah, now in everywhere. I think in malls, in universities, you can see a paper waste and bottle waste, and for other things. صح, you have 3 baskets next to each other. You can see it a lot nowadays, more than before. Alhamdulillah, this is an improvement. So you throw the bottles in one place, you throw the papers in one basket, and the other one for other types of waste, okay? Do you do this? Do you practice this? Think about this. If you don't, will you, after our lesson, consider recycling, okay? What kinds of things can people recycle? What do we recycle? We talked about recycling, things we use it again, صح? What things people can recycle? Can they recycle plastics? Maybe. We will learn more in our listening. Do they recycle papers? Yes. Some of you are saying yes. Some of you say, I don't know. We will see, inshallah, today. Do you think they recycle metal? We don't know. We will see the things we recycle from our listening today. Okay? We have in our listening, page 62, you have true and false questions. Before we hear the listening, as we always do, you have to read the questions. Okay? Look at the question. Before I play the audio, look at the questions. What do they want you to do? Listen to the news story about garbage and recycling. So we will hear about garbage and recycling, okay? And you should write true or false for the statements based on the listening. Do you read it and write true or false? No, you have to listen, and based on the listening, you have to answer, okay? So read the questions before you listen. Don't worry, I will play the recording twice. So if you missed one, it's okay. Okay? The garbage from 1 week in Mexico City can fill a large stadium. Okay? This is the first one. Is this information true? We don't know. Is it false? We don't know. It should be based on the listening we are hearing. Okay? So number 2, the United States doesn't produce as much garbage as Mexico. So they are comparing between countries. Okay? 3, today only paper and cans are recyclable. Is this true information or false? You have 4 and 5 also. Read it. Take your time to read it. And let's hear the audio together. While you are listening, you should answer. Okay, let's hear it together. Bismillah.
One of the biggest problems in cities around the world is disposing of garbage. Mexico City produces approximately 11,000 tons of trash every day. 1 week's garbage is enough to fill the Aztec Stadium, one of Mexico's largest stadiums, which can hold about 115,000 people. But the United States produces the most garbage of all the countries in the world, over 240 million tons a year. That's about 4.5 pounds, 2 kilos, per person per day. Some cities have recycling centers. Residents can separate paper, glass, cans, and plastic from the regular waste. Today, almost any kind of garbage can be recycled, and the environment can be protected. For example, 110 pounds, 50 kilos, of recycled paper saves 1 tree. Some cities have trained their citizens and encouraged them to keep their cities clean. In many cities in the United States, people have to put plastic bottles and cans in separate garbage bags or cans. Paper also is kept separate. The plastic, paper, and metal are taken to special centers for recycling. In Curitiba, a large city in the south of Brazil, the inhabitants like to say that theirs is the most ecological city in the world. The city council found a very practical solution to the problem of trash. Recyclable trash can be exchanged for bus coupons or for food.
Okay. We heard the audio. Okay. And here the other questions we have 4 and 5. Okay. If you haven't answered the questions, don't worry. We will hear the audio again. Okay. So you will hear it again. You will have another chance to answer the questions right, true or false. Okay? Let's hear the audio again together.
One of the biggest problems in cities around the world is disposing of garbage. Mexico City produces approximately 11,000 tons of trash every day. 1 week's garbage is enough to fill the Aztec Stadium, one of Mexico's largest stadiums, which can hold about 115,000 people, but the United States produces the most garbage of all the countries in the world, over 240 million tons a year. That's about 4.5 pounds, 2 kilos per person per day. Some cities have recycling centers. Residents can separate paper, glass, cans, and plastic from the regular waste. Today, almost any kind of garbage can be recycled, and the environment can be protected. For example, 110 pounds, 50 kilos of recycled paper saves 1 tree. Some cities have trained their citizens and encouraged them to keep their cities clean. In many cities in the United States, people have to put plastic bottles and cans in separate garbage bags or cans. Paper also is kept separate. The plastic, paper, and metal are taken to special centers for recycling. In Curitiba, a large city in the south of Brazil, the inhabitants like to say that theirs is the most ecological city in the world. The city council found a very practical solution to the problem of trash. Recyclable trash can be exchanged for bus coupons or for food.
Okay. We heard the audio twice. Hopefully, you were able to answer all the questions. If you finish, compare your answer with your friend. Look at your friend. Discuss it. Why did they write true? What did they hear? Did you hear the same? Argue and defend your answer. لا, I'm sure it's true. No, maybe I wasn't sure. I didn't hear it correctly. So discuss the answer and then let's see it together. For number 1, the garbage from 1 week in Mexico City can fill a large stadium. This statement is true. It is mentioned in the audio. Number 2, the United States doesn't produce as much garbage as Mexico. Is this information true or false? It is false. Excellent. 3, today only paper and cans are recyclable. Is this true? Even without hearing the audio, we know it is false. They recycle more things than paper and cans. 4, about 100 pounds of recycled paper saves 1 tree. Is this true? Yes, it is true. They mentioned how we save trees. In Curitiba, Brazil, people can get bus coupons when they recycle garbage. They want to encourage the people to recycle more, so they give them coupons. This is mentioned in our audio, so the statement is true. Okay? So we finished the listening. We heard the audio. It was about garbage and recycling. Okay? And we answered the true and false questions. Now we will move on to pronunciation. If you can look at your books, page 63, the pronunciation. The pronunciation, as you can see, and statements, he wants you to listen how we pronounce the indirect questions and the information questions. We pronounce it differently. The indirect question, we have a rising intonation, a rising intonation. We have a rising intonation. How? You will hear me read the question and you will notice the rising. With the information question, we have a falling intonation, okay? So you will notice the difference. The questions you have in your book, you have these two questions, and you have the rising and the falling. You will notice it more. Do you know where the bus stop is? Do you know where the bus stop is? Have you noticed the rise? Okay, here I started the rise. Okay. Where is the museum? Where is the museum? This is the fall. You stress on the WH question, the information question, the WH word, you stress on it. Then you continue the question, okay? So with the indirect question, like here, and here we have another WH question, okay? Can you tell me where the bank is? Can you tell me where the bank is? This is a rising intonation. With the WH question, the information question, where is the bank? Where is the bank? We have a falling intonation. We have a falling intonation. You heard me read it. Look at the examples in your book. Try and practice reading these questions. Try to stress more in the WH word, okay? We have more practice here. Try to read it with your friends, okay? The rise with the indirect question and the fall with the information question. What's the name of the street? What's the name of the street? So this is a falling intonation. Do you know what the name of the street is? Do you know what the name of the street is? This is a rise, okay? Practice with me. Read along, please. Where the nearest bank? Where is the nearest bank? I stress on where. I raise my voice with where, then I move slowly. This is falling intonation, okay? Do you know where the nearest bank? Do you know where is the nearest bank? When does the street store open? When does the street store open? Okay? Do you know when the store is open? Do you know when the store opens? Where can I get a good pizza? Where can I get good pizza? Could you tell me where can I get a good pizza? Have you noticed the difference? The rise and the fall. Practice more. I think there is more practice when you refer to our grammar lesson. If you open your grammar lesson, you will see list of indirect, list of information question and list of indirect question. Practice pronouncing these words with your friends, okay? This is related to our pronunciation for today. So what did we cover in our lesson today? We heard a listening. Okay, we heard the listening about garbage and recycling. We learned new information, the things we can recycle. Hopefully this raises an awareness. You will be more aware, more careful about the environment, and you will try to protect the environment by recycling, inshallah. Also, we practice the intonation between the indirect questions and the information question, the WH questions. We noticed the difference. We pronounce these two different types of questions, and we noticed the rise and the fall between the two. Okay? Thank you for listening. That's it for today, and inshallah I will see you next class.